All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Indiana Farmers Market Community of Practice April webinar, MarketLink's update on the latest in federal nutrition benefit programs, including the rollout of Indiana's eFMNP. I am Christina Ferroli, the Grants Program Coordinator for the Indiana Cooperative Development Center. We have with us today Amy Crone with MarketLink and Legita Wilson with the Indiana Department of Health. Amy Crone is the project manager for MarketLink, a national initiative developed in collaboration with the USDA to increase acceptance of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known as SNAP, at farmers markets and by direct marketing farmers. MarketLink, a program of the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs, is the only app-based means of accepting SNAP available. And since its start in 2013 has enabled sales of more than 79 million in SNAP and more than 170 million nationwide in total sales by farmers markets and direct marketing farmers. Formerly, Amy was the executive director of the Maryland Farmers Market Association, a nonprofit organization that she founded in 2012. Prior to her current roles, she was with the Maryland Department of Agriculture as state point of contact for farmers market issues and administered the Maryland Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which is Seniors and Women, Infant and Children, or WIC program. Crone is nationally recognized expert on federally nutrition assistance programs who has experience in speaking to a variety of audiences across the country. She currently serves on the Maryland Agricultural Commission representing the farm direct sector, is the chair of the Anne Arundel County Agricultural Commission, and is a member of the lead Maryland Board of Directors. Ms. Crone lives on a small diversified farm in Maryland with her husband and 2 children. I also want to introduce you Legita Wilson. Legita has a broad and eclectic range of experience and skills, having worked in the legal, manufacturing, information technology, and social service areas. She has, for the past 10 years, been a member of the Indiana WIC team focused on commodity programs funded by the USDA. The programs include the Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP, Commodity Supplemental Food Program, CSFP, WIC Farmers Market Nutrition Program, and Seniors Farmer Market Nutrition Program, which are known as WIC and Senior FMNP programs. So we welcome both Amy and Legita today. I please ask you to remain muted. I have the chat box up. That's what I was trying to get up earlier. And please drop your questions in the chat. I know we will have time for a Q&A. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I will go through my slides relatively quickly and so that we have lots of time for questions at the end. There we go. So webinar housekeeping, as we already heard, please mute. We'll answer questions at the end. And this is what we're going to go through. So an introduction to MarketLink and the NEFMNP program, why you would want to consider accepting SNAP and EBT, why you would want to choose MarketLink if you do decide to accept SNAP and EBT, and then the grant and equipment overview and the latest developments, which includes online SNAP and also eFMNP. I know that's a hot topic in Indiana, so we have a lot of information on that as well. So our introduction, we are MarketLink, which is a program of the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. NAFMNP was first formed in the early 1990s, hand in hand with the federal Farmers Market Nutrition Programs, or FMNPs. And the purpose of the organization is to bring together the administrators of those programs so that they can share best practices, provide feedback to FNS, and ensure that the programs are operating efficiently and effectively across the country. We are spread out all over the country. I'm based in Maryland, and the rest of our team, we have members from California all the way to Maine and down to Texas. Our partners in the MarketLink program are first and foremost the United States Department of Agriculture. The Food and Nutrition Service is the group that funds the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, as well as provides funding for the Farmers Market Nutrition Programs and works to provide funding as well as grants to do the work that we do. Novadia Group is our software and equipment provider. They are based in Texas, and we have worked with them to develop, as Christina mentioned, the one and only app that you can accept SNAP through. Grown By is our online SNAP provider collaborator. Grown By is an app of Farm Generations, which is a New York-based cooperative group that actually, it's not just, it started in New York, I should say, but they are based, they work nationwide now. So why would you consider accepting SNAP or EBT? It does create a virtuous cycle of benefits from the market to the farmer and the customer as well. You can see in this very colorful diagram that you can expand your customer base, you can improve food access, build a sense of community, create marketing opportunities, and of course, increase sales and improve profitability of both your farm and the market. 41.5 million Americans received SNAP in 2021. And as we know that a lot of that was additionally supplemented as a result of the pandemic, but it is a $1 billion program. Eligible foods under SNAP are as listed here. Essentially 98% of what you would find at any given farmer's market would be eligible. The only things that are not eligible include non-food products, medicine or health related supplements, alcohol, tobacco, hot foods, or foods that are meant to be eaten on site. It is $100 billion with a B plus federal program. 95% of that spending goes directly to food for household purchases. And so far, only about 12 million of that has been going to direct marketing farmers and farmers markets. So despite the 20% increase in SNAP participants, we're not seeing huge growth. We are seeing growth for sure in the acceptance of these benefits by farmers markets and direct marketing farmers, but that's what we aim to improve and capture more of that $100 billion market. It is an excellent companion to the farmers market nutrition programs. As you all know, I'm sure the farmers market nutrition programs cover fruits, vegetables, cut herbs, whereas the SNAP program, as we just saw, also includes other items such as meats, eggs, dairy, and products that essentially round out the entirety of a participant's market basket. There are 86 farmers market nutrition programs across 45 states, territories, and Indian tribal organizations, and they provide benefits to 2 million participants. Currently, we have roughly 40,000 farmers markets, roadside stands, and CSAs that accept the farmers market nutrition program. So why would you want to choose MarketLink? Applying for the grant is easy. We have an online application and everything is completed over the internet in terms of submitting your forms and applications. It used to be an actual physical paper process where you would send things off to a PO box in the middle of the country and wait for a response. But now we've been able to streamline the process, and we have regional representatives that can help you even submit the SNAP application on your behalf. Overall, the MarketLink program's aim is to consolidate and streamline all of these programs so that you can accept them with one device, minimizing the amount of administration on the back end since we have excellent reporting, and then also hopefully making it easy for you to set up acceptance of the most benefits possible. We do see that SNAP sales are increasing every year through our equipment. We have about 3 million per month that's being processed in SNAP through the MarketLink platform. So this is what the app looks like. It's called Total Pay Go. And as I mentioned earlier, it was developed by Novadia Group in collaboration with us. And we've been working to add more and more tender types and more federal nutrition benefits programs to make it easy to accept wherever you are. There's also a portal that you gain access to once you enroll in the program where you can see all sorts of data that you can also export and download. So in terms of making sure that your accounting systems are up to date, you can use all of this data, or you can actually use it to analyze some of the trends at your market or your farm stand as well. So the grant and equipment overview. So in the green on the left, you see those that are eligible for the free equipment. It is direct marketing farmers or farmers markets. There is sometimes some confusion about the definition of a farmers market, but USDA does have a very clear definition. So for example, if you are a direct marketing farmer and you may have a farm stand at your farm for folks to come and pick up or to shop from, that does not count as a farmer's market. USDA defines a farmer's market as 2 or more farmer producers that sell their own agricultural products directly to the public at a fixed location. Mobile markets as well do not qualify as farmers markets, and food aggregators also are not farmers markets. So they would be examples of those that fall into the not eligible category, which you see on the right-hand side. You would also not be eligible if you have already received the grant since October of 2019. It's not intended to be a year-over-year award. You just get it one time, because the idea is that you will have an entire year to accept SNAP for free and grow your customer base so that you can determine if it's a worthwhile business expense to continue utilizing that app. Also, if you've received equipment through the state-sponsored programs, you would not be eligible for the grant since USDA has funded most of those state programs. So in general, they don't want you to be utilizing their funding twice. It is important to note, though, that even if you are not eligible for the grant, we can help with the technical assistance of becoming SNAP authorized. I think currently there are something like 12 different categories that businesses can become eligible under for the SNAP program. So even if you fall in one of those categories that is not the direct marketing farmer or the farmers market, we can assist you with getting that SNAP authorization. And you can also purchase equipment from Novidia Group if you are not eligible to receive the free equipment under the grant. This is a high-level overview of the process for the equipment grant. You first complete the MarketLink eligibility application at marketlink.org/apply. It's a very quick application. It should take you less than 10 minutes to work through it. Then secondly, we can assist you, as I mentioned, or you can do it on your own to complete the USDA SNAP retailer application to receive your FNS authorization. That is often referred to in shorthand as your FNS number. It is a 7-digit number that identifies you as an authorized SNAP retailer. Third, you'll set up your SNAP EBT and credit debit merchant accounts. That is so that when a customer comes and swipes their cards with you, those funds directly deposit into your bank account. And then lastly, you'll receive and set up your equipment. This is what the equipment looks like. That's a screenshot of the app as it looks like on a phone. You do need to bring your own device for this program, so you will need either an Android or an iOS-based device. It can be a tablet, it doesn't have to be a phone, but you do need internet or data service to in order to run the app. You can use Wi-Fi if it's available, but you do need to be online in some capacity in order to accept the benefits. And then that little black item that you see there in the picture is the Bluetooth card reader. So you don't have to plug it into your device, but rather you pair it. And then it has an EMV chip reader as well as a tap to pay if you choose to add credit or debit. And then the SNAP cards, you will use the mag strip reader on the backside. What's covered under the grant? Technical assistance with the SNAP retailer authorization application, as well as any other questions that you have about the program, including equipment, advice, and guidance. We do provide the card reader, as I mentioned, and 1-year subscription to the Total Pay Go app. And then another important piece of this grant is that there is a printer waiver. So the federal regulations require that you provide a printed receipt to SNAP participants. But for this program, you do not have to provide that printed receipt, but instead you can either text or email the receipt to the customer if they would like to receive one. And that printer waiver actually lasts beyond the end of the grant period as well. This is an overview of the costs. I've gone over everything that's covered under the first year, but then after the grant year, the cost of that Total Pay Go app is either $191.40 per year or $19.95 per month. We have the month-to-month option, particularly for those that are open less than 6 months. We find that's pretty much the point at which it makes sense to go to an annual subscription. But there is about a 20% discount on that annual subscription. So it works out to be roughly $16 a month rather than the $20 a month. Any optional card debit service fees will be, of course, part of your package after the year. But then after the grant ends, you will still be able to not have any transaction fees for SNAP and EBT sales. You'll be able to keep that Bluetooth reader. And then, as I mentioned, the printer waiver continues to apply. This is an overview of transaction rates. On the left under the green, you'll see that there are no transaction rates for SNAP processing, neither per transaction fees nor percentage of the fees, and that will continue indefinitely. And then the two credit and debit providers that you are able to integrate with the app are either Square or WorldPay. This is an overview of the USDA SNAP retailer application process. I'm not going to go through each of these steps for the sake of time, but I will provide these slides afterwards so that you have a reference for later. Oh, went too fast. Must-haves and best practices. You do need an active email account that is checked regularly. That is how we communicate all of the steps in the process. So you do need to have access to that. You have a bank account for the electronic transactions. As I mentioned before, this is a situation in which when the participant swipes their benefit, then it's deposited directly into your bank account. So that does need to be set up in your merchant account systems. It is good to have all of your business information on hand before you start the SNAP application. And if you work with our regional representatives, they'll give you a whole checklist of things that you'll want to have handy once they go through that application with you. And then to start early, this is particularly the busy time of the year when, as you all know, markets are starting to open. So folks need to make sure that they have all of their authorizations done. So FNS really has a big onslaught of applications at this time of year, and it can take a little bit longer than usual. So this is how you can start with the MarketLink grant. This is the easiest way to access all of the other pieces that I'll continue to talk about in addition to accepting SNAP. You can go to marketlink.org/apply, or if you have additional questions that you want clarified before you start the process, feel free to email us at info@marketlink.org, or that third phone number there is toll-free for you to speak with a member of our team who can answer any of your questions about your particular situation. So moving along to the latest developments and the other pieces of what we've been working on. As part of that equipment grant, we were also provided with funding by USDA to enhance the acceptance of federal nutrition benefits programs beyond SNAP. So in particular, EWIC and eFMNP were part of that grant development as well. And so we are working on rolling out electronic FMNP in conjunction with some state agencies. We've also developed an electronic incentives platform. So we are testing, it is actually live in a few places across the country that they are implementing electronic incentives. And we're also working to ensure that EWIC is more available for farmers and markets to accept across the country. And lastly, we did receive a separate grant for online SNAP. So that is a program in which we are just about to complete testing with an e-commerce provider that direct marketing farmers and potentially farmers markets can use to accept SNAP online. So EWIC is different across the country. Every state implements it slightly differently, and we can get into the details of Indiana. I'm sure that we have experts on the call that can speak to some of the EWIC questions better than I, but we can circle back around to this question in the to this topic in the question and answer period if you would like. But in many states, you are able to accept the EWIC benefit through the Total Pay Go app. So if you're already an authorized EWIC vendor within your state, you can provide that number to the Novadia group team, and they will add that tender type or means of accepting it to your Total Pay Go app. I alluded already to our testing of e-incentives across the country. So the way that this works is that the participant will have the My MarketLink app, which you can see there on the screen. And then that QR code on the right is how they will show their benefits to the farmer in order to be able to redeem them. So this is the same with the eFMNP program, which we will get to in a couple of slides. But this My MarketLink app is the one that participants will use to show their benefits to the farmers, who will then scan that QR code using their Total Pay Go app to redeem that benefit. Online SNAP, as I mentioned, we're about to finish testing with the Grown By team with FNS, their OPP office, the Office of Purchasing pilot in order to enable farmers to accept SNAP online via the Grown By portal. So the easiest way to think of this is that a SNAP customer wants to shop online and pick out their products and then purchase them via a portal via the internet online, and then they can establish how they would like to pick those items up, whether it be at the market or if they're going to go to the farm. But currently that is not available to farmers and markets. It's only available for big box retailers. You may have seen already in some other formats. If you're interested in learning more about online SNAP specifically, you can either submit that as part of your eligibility assessment. There is a question there where you can indicate that you're interested in online SNAP, or this is a link to our online interest form where we will send you updates with the latest regarding the online SNAP program development. Similar to the MarketLink equipment process, this is an overview of the online SNAP grant process. You would complete the eligibility assessment, get your authorized SNAP retailer number, submit your application to become an online SNAP retailer, because those are actually two separate processes. So you do need to first get your FNS retailer number, and then you submit a second round of applications for the online retailer number. And then you would set up your Grown By site and complete your testing with USDA and Grown By. So on to eFMNP, and Legita, if you have anything to add, please feel free to jump in here. We are working on transitioning the Farmers Market Nutrition Program to an electronic format for this season. And if you already have the Total Pay Go app, if you're already participating, then you can provide your EWIC approved vendor number to Novadia Group, and we can get that added to your app. If you don't have Total Pay Go already, there are a couple of different ways that you can get it. You can qualify for the free equipment grant and indicate as part of that application your EWIC vendor number, so that when you get all of that set up, it will already be there. And then if you want to accept only eFMNP, the state will cover the license for 1 year for that app. You see, this is the what the app will look like on the what the program will look like on the Total Pay Go app. TIMS stands for Total Incentive Management System, and that will be the Indiana eFMNP tender type. So for farmers, as I mentioned, you will need to have the app. You will also need to be enrolled with the state of Indiana to be approved to accept the Farmers Market Nutrition Program electronically. And then, so we have two applications here on the screen. On the left in the purple is the state farmer application. And then on the right in the orange color is how you can apply to only accept eFMNP and get the Total Pay Go app set up just for that purpose. As I alluded to before, the participants will have this My Market Link app. So that's what will show their benefit amount. There's also a map in this app as well, so that they can find authorized eFMNP providers. And then they will be able to utilize their smart device. We also will have a method that if there are folks that do not have a smart device and need some other way to redeem their benefits, we will have a QR code likely on a card in order to for them to redeem them without using an app. And that is the overview of all of the programs. I know that was a relatively quick review of what we have, but let me see, let me stop sharing my screen and then I can shift to the questions in the chat. But as I do that, Legit, is there anything that you would like to add to what I covered with regards to eFMNP?
Only a little clarification for the farmers, because as we have been made aware, we use a lot of acronyms in our programs. So specific to the state of Indiana, our electronic WIC is referred to as InWIC. It has its own app and it uses EBT cards, but InWIC benefits can only be used at grocery stores and pharmacies, not at farmers markets or roadside stands. So what we are talking about here is eFMNP. If you are a currently authorized farmer, communicate with us. we will provide you with your vendor number. Then you can communicate with MarketLink to get enrolled and receive the Total Pay Go app. And if you have any further questions after any of these meetings, you can call the WIC 800 number that I'll drop into chat and ask for a member of the commodities team. Back to you, Amy,
All
to
right.
answer all these questions.
I was going to say, I think the first question might be for you as well. So,
Well, do you want me to help, Amy?
I can see them so far. Let's see. The first
Okay.
question is, if we've been involved with WIC and SNAP, we do not have to apply to the MarketLink website, but do we have to register with eFMNP? So as Legita just mentioned, if you're already an authorized vendor for FMNP, then reach out to them and they'll make sure that you have your vendor number and you're all set for the season, and then we can get you set up. And then if you've already been involved with WIC and SNAP, you should be good to go. Only if you need free equipment or assistance with those pieces, should you reach out to MarketLink. Let's see the next. So the next question is, we accept WIC. We've been using Total Pay for 2 years. How do we accept eWIC? So you can email me and Novadia Group with your eFMNP vendor number. I'm trying to make sure I get all of the acronyms right, because as Legita said, they are many and they are different in every state. So in order to accept eFMNP, then you would provide your authorized vendor number to Novadia Group. So I will put my email in the chat right now also, so that as you all are thinking of these questions and want to follow up, you can do so. And then let's see. Same question, FMNP. So the question is whether moving forward, is this app the only way to take farmers market nutrition benefits at farmers markets? And the short answer is yes. And currently the state plans to cover the cost of the license for that first year. And then hopefully you will have more sales and it will make sense going forward as to what the rate for the license is. Since this is a pilot and very much early on, we will be gathering data from Indiana to figure out kind of what that price point will be for the license. In other words, if you are not, if you're only doing eFMNP, then it might not necessarily be that full $191.40 per year going forward, but we don't have any data yet to figure out exactly what that license cost will be. And also, I believe that there are different funds being applied for that potentially cover that license cost for more than just the first year as well. So this year is very much the pilot and the get things going, and then we'll continue to update everyone as we move forward and hopefully cover these costs for additional years. Question is, grown by only for growers, or can small retailers use it too? Anyone who wants to use grown by is welcome to. I recommend you check out their site, which is grownby.app, which I will also pop in the chat and see if it's the right fit for your needs. Copy this into the chat. And then I just answered, I believe, the next question with regards to what the cost will be of participating after the 1 year. We are working on confirming what that will be and whether or not the state can cover it beyond the first year. And farmers markets can't accept eWIC based on what Legita said. That's for you, Legita. I'm not even gonna, I'll make sure that you explain.
Well, yes, and I'd like to go back to one question. So you can do the app or have the card reader. You must have the app for both eFMNP and for SNAP. There is no card reader required for eFMNP because there will be no card associated with eFMNP. You will need the card reader for SNAP. How do farmers sign up?
I'm sorry, I jumped down a little too far.
It keeps scrolling and I keep making the window bigger. How do farmers sign up for eFMNP and get the training? If you are not yet approved by our team, the WIC Commodities team, we're part of the WIC division of IDOH, then you need to complete a a merchant application for the state. Once approved, we assign you a vendor number. You need that vendor number in order to complete the application for Total Pay Go or MarketLink. And Amy has more to say about that later, I believe. And that question somewhere in here.
The next question, I think, looks like my controller's office has to complete the process. They asked me if we use Square, EBT, or WorldPay. Do I need one of these with the Total Pay Go? So those are both the credit providers. So if you decide to add credit, then you would need to choose one of them. But if you do not plan to accept credit, then you don't need to use neither Square nor WorldPay. NovaDia Group is a certified third-party processor. So NovaDia Group is the actual processor for the SNAP transactions. Next, as a farmer who accepted the farmers market checks from WIC and the senior nutrition program, what do I need to do specifically? So sorry for the confusion, but as Legita has explained, the first step is to ensure that you are registered with the state of Indiana and that you have that approved farmers market nutrition program vendor number. And then after you have that number, you can either go through the full MarketLink grant to become SNAP authorized and accept the electronic FMNP program, or you can apply through the link that is specifically for Indiana eFMNP only. Both of those are in the presentation that I linked there, and we'll be sure to follow up to ensure that you all have the information to be able to complete the process. And then I think we got those questions. Will there be a step-by-step handout of what vendors need to do to get signed up? One for vendors and market managers. We can, yes, we are working on these materials and we will get those to all of you.
One other thing, just to clarify, both farmers and markets may apply to accept SNAP. Only farmers who grow more than half of what they sell over the course of the season may become eFMNP vendors. Markets may not, nor have ever been able to accept WIC and senior FMNP benefits.
Thank you for that clarification. And then to Dale's comment that $191 a year will take a big percentage of your FMNP sales. Again, that $191 is if you're doing both SNAP and eFMNP, and then that would also cover potentially eWIC. I know that's a different topic, but again, we are looking at what the cost will be after year one for that eFMNP only license. The presentation, let's see. If we take SNAP at the farm through a hardline credit card machine, will we have to take Total Pay Go to take eFMNP or eWIC? Yes, is the short answer to that. Is our vendor number the same as the stamp we were provided in the past? That is a question for Legita.
No, it is not. Stamp numbers can change, vendor numbers do not. We are also we changed last year from a 3-year authorization to a 1-year authorization. So some of you are still in the 3-year authorization period. One reason you need to contact our office, and I just realized I typoed, it's 800, not 8002, as the area code for our main line. But send an email to WIC Commodities Programs at health.in.gov, and I'll pop that into the chat as well. Or give us a call on the 800 number, leave an explicit voice message if you don't directly connect with myself or a member of my team. And we can verify that you are currently authorized, provide you with that vendor number that you need, or let you know that you must renew and get started on that process. And then you can move forward with MarketLink. We will, as every year, continue to accept applications until August 1st. Any applications received after August 1st will be held and processed for the following season. Since this is a seasonal program. It's only active issuing benefits June through September and processing benefits or expending benefits June through the end of October. And that is by federal regulation. We are not allowed to operate year-round.
I see the next one is from Mark. We note your comment, and I think this would be a good case for advocating at the state level as well, so that Legita has all of the resources at her disposal to be able to cover the cost of this program going forward. So I would recommend anything you can do there as well, in addition to my comment earlier that we are working on getting the cost covered in a variety of different ways. From start to finish, SNAP users come to the Parks Department tent. So Erica, I would say let's connect offline to figure out what systems you're using now, but it sounds like it will be a separate setup, which we can kind of help walk you through. And then the next question is, if I use Square already, how does that integrate with eFMNP? So in the Total Pay Go app, you can add Square as a tender type. So if you are a farmer and you manage your inventory in the Square app, for example, what we recommend folks do is process the sale in your Square app where you have all of your inventory loaded, and then mark it as an other type of purchase, and then switch over to the Total Pay Go app where you can then swipe their credit card for the amount of the total. Let's see. Again, Erica, it sounds like we need to have a longer conversation outside of this group to figure out. So this, in essence, will be a shift from the token system, depending on if I understand.
Can I jump in?
Situation, yes, please.
I'm thinking there's some pretty big confusion between eFMNP and SNAP. So a market manager is still doing the SNAP transaction and will still have tokens for SNAP. And so I want to make sure that's like, and eFMNP is between the vendor and the participant. I think it may be helpful to walk through the difference between SNAP and eFMNP, because I think I'm anticipating there's some confusion on that.
Yes. So to reiterate what Legita was explaining as well, and thank you, Elise, for hopping in. So there are two ways that you can accept SNAP at the farmers market. One is the central market system, in which the market holds the FNS approval and hands out tokens and manages the SNAP program on behalf of the vendors. The second is every one of those direct marketing farmers can accept SNAP directly. So these are the two scenarios that we're talking about. And then with eFMNP, the farmers accept that benefit directly. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of different combinations of those ways in which you can accept these benefits that can exist at any given farmers market. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And then I know, I'm sure that Elise has lots of great resources for everyone too, with regards to the central market system and the token system set up at markets, which is not the topic or the focus of this conversation today, but we do acknowledge that that's a way that a lot of markets are already set up. So it's a matter of working with your market and your farmers to determine what way these benefits are going to be accepted going forward. And then I see that you don't have your name, but St. Joe Foundation, you have your hand raised. Hopefully.
I do. Hi,
yes.
Amy. My name's Mary, and I was just hoping to clarify only for the WIC and senior vouchers, the WIC FMNP and senior FMNP. So the very first step that a farmer would need to do is contact the WIC department, either by the email that Legita gave us or the phone number, and make sure that they're registered to accept the vouchers, right?
Correct.
And then Legita, is there a website where if they are not already registered to accept it, that they can go to a website and fill out an application? How do they get that WIC application?
I'm going to let Amy speak to a secondary method, but on our webpage,
Okay.
wic.in.gov, on the left-hand side, there is a menu item called Farmers Markets and Stands. In there is a link that will always point to the current version of the application packet.
Okay,
However, that's that's a PDF, fillable PDF version.
okay.
But Amy has another announcement to make.
So we have developed an online application for that as well. So I just popped that into the chat. It's the Indiana Merchant App 23 link that you see there. So folks can also submit that application, and then we will circle back with Legita's office and make sure that they're all registered, and then provide them with information on next steps. So whether they want to do the full package where they go through the entire MarketLink process to be able to accept SNAP and eFMNP, or if they choose to just accept eFMNP, we'll provide them with all of that information directly.
Okay, so Amy, if they're all ready, they already have their vendor number, they've checked with Legita, they have their vendor number, then where do they contact MarketLink if they just want to accept the vouchers, the WIC and the senior vouchers, the eFMNP?
Yep, that's the form that I just popped in.
Okay,
And that's also in the presentation. There's a link where you all can go and download the presentation that I put in as well. And we'll be sure, of course, to send all of this out afterwards. So if you all aren't capturing it, or, I know some folks are probably calling in from their phone or different locations. So we will send all of this via an email as well. Christina and I will work together to put together all of the resources so that you have them in an email in one place, so that you don't have to remember all of this information that we're going over today, since I know that it is a lot.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, so
Can
back to
I
the
just
question.
clarify that, like,
Please,
for
yeah.
vendors, if you're at a market that already has a SNAP process, you don't need a SNAP number unless you want to do SNAP sales independently. So if you're
That's right.
only interested in eFMNP, it'll be the free app for this year. You do not need to do the SNAP process. That's an okay way to go, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the two, I believe that's maybe Dave, if I'm reading that right, who is confused. Hopefully you have all the numbers and emails that you can set up a call with someone that can walk you through it directly. And then the next question is from Christy. Oh, it keeps scrolling. I sell at multiple markets, sometimes two or three locations at the same time. Can I use the app at all places, or do I need separate setup for each? And is there additional cost? So it depends on for the full setup, for lack of a better term, so accepting SNAP and eFMNP. Well, let me back up. Yes, is the short answer. You will need a separate machine set up at each location, and then we can work with you to figure out what the licensing looks like for each of those machines, whether you're doing eFMNP only or SNAP and eFMNP. Next question, we're on two different year-round markets, so is it only good through June to October? So for the eFMNP benefits, yes, they're only available during the seasonal, but SNAP is a federal benefit that is available year-round.
And to throw an additional clarification there, that is by federal regulation, that this is a seasonal program, and they dictate when we may obligate funds. So for us, September 30th is the absolute last day that we are allowed to obligate funds, meaning promise them. So September 30th is the last possible day that we can issue benefits to participants, because those benefits will be usable for 30 days after issuance. The last day to use those would be October 30th. So the federal regulations dictate what we can do. So where we have the option to do something on our own, some flexibilities that are allowed, we do, but there are certain things that are beyond our power to control.
And that's why they're also complementary programs. So, FMNP is limited, whereas SNAP is year-round. FMNP is limited in terms of what eligible items there are. SNAP has additional items that are eligible. So that's why these programs, work well together, particularly for farmers markets or farms that are open for year-round purchasing. If the next question is, we signed up for eFMNP event on 4/20, when should we expect to hear about our Total Pay account? Within the week, if you haven't already, I would be sure to triple check your spam filter to make sure that nothing got stuck there. And then if you want to send me an email afterwards, I can check on the specific status of your account setup as well. Michael is back to the cost question. We hear your concerns. And again, I highly recommend that you all provide Legida the support at the state level and advocate to the folks that are making these funding decisions that the state should cover these costs for you all. And then Elise listed her email for folks in central Indiana to help with resources, particularly with the central market system. And then let's see, if you currently take SNAP through another vendor and only need a way to accept eFMNP, you sign up through TotalPay, not MarketLink. Yes, that eFMNP only link is the way that you would want to get that set up. And yes, thank you, Whitney, for adding our information about how you can either email our team, call us, or set up an appointment to talk through your particular situation. And then is MarketLink the only way for farmers to accept eFMNP option for the 2023 market year? Yes, I think we went over that. And then can you remind us of the amount WIC and senior participants can receive a season of FMNP vouchers? That is a Legida question as well.
Yes, and it's very exciting. I secured a grant to go to maximum benefit for senior farmers market nutrition program for the next 2 years. So each eligible senior will receive $50 in benefits. Each eligible WIC participant will receive $30, which is the maximum allowed by WIC FMNP regulations. Also, to give you a little background, I think I always give way too much information, but I'm going to do it again anyway. Those of you who are farmers may have noticed that we had little to no FMNP season last year, and I want to let you know why. Effective December 30, the end of December in 2021, the only two entities that processed checks for the WIC and senior FMNPs opted not to do so anymore. So we had to scramble to find someone to help us out last year. We found Central Bank of Missouri, out of the goodness of their heart, signed on to print the checks, deliver the checks, and process the checks. All of the reporting and data management that we used to get from those other entities went away and fell on the backs of myself and my staff. We knew that this was coming. We knew that checks were going to go the way of the dinosaur, but we were unable to make that happen last year. So we found Central Bank of Missouri. They were the only ones who had raised their hands. We're getting ready to effect a contract with them. And another entity said, hey, by the way, we did this too. So we had to back up and go through the bid process to select a vendor to do that. Long and short of that means that process dragged on until the middle of September. We did not get checks until the last week of September last year. So we essentially had 3 to 5 days to issue. There was very little produce in some parts of the states. The season was just horrible. We cannot do that again. We gave the majority of the money back to FNS. If we expend all of the food funds that FNS grants to us, then we will be in a position to request additional food funds moving forward and grow the program. So I understand that it's a huge paradigm shift for all of us. But we've known that this was going to happen for what, Amy, 10 years? It's finally here, and it is not sustainable for I and my staff of 2 who manage 4 federal programs, including everything involved with those, the contracts, the monitoring, the federal reporting, to manage all of that data acquisition and reporting for our two smallest programs. It's just, it is not fiscally responsible of us.
Yep, Legita, there were several questions that had surfaced within conversations about how eFMNP is going to play out at markets here in Indiana. And one of them, Amy already addressed, like if older adults don't have a smartphone, how will they interact with the app? So do you want to repeat that? And the other question that has come up is what happens with our Amish farmers who do not use phone technology? So if you want to kind of go over those two and kind of review those for us, please.
With regard to the Amish farmers, and please rest assured, I have been working on this project since early 2020 and coming up with all sorts of roadblocks and questions that could arise, and hopefully have come up with some ways to mitigate those particular issues. I do understand that our Amish do not deal with electronics. However, Indiana FMNP does and has always allowed participating vendors to purchase up to 49% of what they sell over the course of the season from other Indiana growers. So while our Amish farmers will not participate and benefit directly as approved vendors, they can still participate adjunctively by selling their produce to the approved vendors.
One of the other options would be that the Amish have volunteers that with the app, the Total Pay Go app on their phone, and they're the ones that would interact with the clients at the market, if that's possible. Again, that's farmer based, basically. So,
Right.
but Legita's team would definitely be willing to talk through all those types of possibilities.
And regarding the limit with the checks in previous years, it has been in the manual since before I came to the programs that vendors who routinely redeem less than $50 per season may not be authorized for subsequent years. And again, if you're not getting $50 a year, it's probably not worth your time and effort to participate in the program. It's not a hard and fast shall not be authorized. It is a may not be authorized. So it's evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
I just typed some answers rather than answering them out loud, but in terms of participants receiving their benefits and app, and are we rolling out training for them already? We are working on training with the local agencies to make sure that they understand how everything works, and we'll be hopeful to keep everything on the timeline, on the usual market timeline in terms of when benefits are issued. And then to Kim's question, I think it's easier if we just set up a separate one-on-one session and we can walk you through the different pieces and so that you can figure out what's right for your business and in ways that you want to utilize Square. You don't need to accept credit through the Total Pay Go app. You can continue to accept credit through your Square app, but there are options depending on how you want to manage your inventory and depending on how you want to manage your SNAP customers. So and again, I say we can set up a separate call and walk you through that directly. And on that note, actually, I wanted to introduce everyone to Whitney Butler, who is on the call. If Whitney can come off of It's not mute because it's the camera off. Turn camera on, I guess. What it's not as easy of a way to describe it, but Whitney is our regional representative that covers Indiana. So I just wanted to introduce her to you all and say that she will likely be helping you with a lot of these questions going forward. And we are thrilled to have her as part of a team, since we are very fortunate that she is an excellent team member and very responsive. So most likely, if you set up an appointment, it will be with Whitney. And some of you may have already met her at some of the events.
Yay.
Go ahead, Whitney.
Yay. Yay, Whitney.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the nice introduction. And yes, please do reach out. I can help, talk through your questions. And if I don't know the answer, then I know the people who do know the answers. So happy to help clear this up as much as possible.
Thank you. All right, we have 2 minutes to spare. Are there other questions? Or I don't know if Christina, you want to do a little wrap up for us?
Yeah, well, thank you to Amy and Legita for this wonderful webinar. It is being recorded, and I will upload it onto the INFMCP website under webinars. And I will definitely work with Amy to get the resources and the links out to you in an email. We had a record of 50 people attend, so I will download the Zoom meeting information and grab your emails, and we will send you a follow-up email and the information. If it doesn't get to you because it bounces back, please circle back around and email me. That way I can make sure that you get Amy's contact information, the website links and everything, and Whitney's information too. So thank you all for attending, and I think I will stop recording and we will call that a meeting. So again, thank you all for participating. Thank you again to Legita and to Amy.
Thank you, Christina, for having us.
It's been great. Response was wonderful. So glad we were able to host it, and I'm very hopeful we'll do more events in the future as this rolls out. So thanks everyone. Have a great afternoon. And again, please feel free to email Whitney, Legita, and Amy, and look for our email. So thanks all.
Bye-bye.